Lonely rancher helped a lost boy crying in the rain. At dawn, 200 riders waited with gifts. What makes a man who's given up on life suddenly care again? What power does a child's tears hold over a heart turned to stone? This is a story about promises kept across prairies, about debts that can't be measured in gold, and about how sometimes the most profound connections happen between strangers who recognize each other's wounds. In the forgotten corners of Dusty Ridge, where hope had long since blown away with the tumbleweeds, one rainy night would prove that miracles still ride on horseback, if you're broken enough to believe. The boy in the rain, the fence post creaked wrong. Jacob Stone had lived on this dying ranch for 23 years. 23 years of learning every sound the wind could make, every groan of old wood, every whisper of sage against weathered boards. This creak was different. This creak carried weight. He stepped onto the porch, Winchester in hand but not raised. The rain had turned the world to mud and misery. Lightning sketched skeleton trees against a purple sky. And there, gripping the fence like it was the only solid thing left in creation, stood a boy. Maybe 10, maybe 12. Hard to tell, with the rain plastering dark hair to a too-thin face. Clothes that might have been white once. No shoes. Feet bloody from miles of running or walking or both. The boy's mouth moved. No sound came out. Just tears mixing with rain and eyes that had seen the end of everything. Jacob waited for the boy to run. That's what wild things did when cornered. But the child just stood there, fingers white-knuckled on the fence, body shaking with cold or fear or the effort of staying upright. "You lost." Jacob's voice came out rusty. Months since he'd used it for more than cursing cattle. The boy shook his head. Not lost. Something worse. Hurt? A nod this time. Small. Like admitting it might make it fatal. "Can you make it to the house?" The boy tried to climb the fence. He made it halfway before his strength gave out. He fell backward into the mud and lay there like he'd finally found where he belonged. Jacob hadn't moved fast in years, but he moved now, over the fence in one motion that pulled muscles he'd forgotten existed. The boy weighed nothing, bird bones and rain. "I got you," Jacob muttered, though he wasn't sure if he was talking to the boy or himself. "I got you." The child's eyes fluttered open. Green as spring grass. Green as everything Jacob had stopped believing in. "Don't get cold," the boy whispered. Already used to it, the words hit Jacob like a physical blow. He'd said the same thing once. 30 years ago. Different fence, different storm, different life. He carried the boy inside, tracking mud across floors that hadn't seen footprints but his own in 3 years. Set him by the fire that he kept burning out of habit more than need. Warmth was for people who still felt things. The boy sat hunched, arms wrapped around knees, making himself small. Practiced at disappearing, but his eyes tracked everything. The rifles are on the wall, the single plate on the table, the photograph turned face down on the mantel. "Hungry?" Jacob asked. "Don't want to take your food." Wasn't using it anyway. Jacob found bread, the last of the bacon, and coffee that might warm something besides memory. "Eat." The boy ate like he'd forgotten how. Small bites. "Careful, like someone might snatch it away." Jacob recognized that too. Orphanage eating, institution eating. Eating like gratitude might be demanded as payment. "What's your name?" The boy stopped chewing. Swallowed hard. "They said I don't get one anymore." "Who said?" Silence. "The kind that held screams." "Well, I got to call you something. How about boy for now?" "Boy's fine." Relief in acceptance. "What do I call you?" "Jacob or Stone or nothing. Doesn't much matter anymore." The boy studied him. "You're sad too." Not a question. Recognition. One broken thing identifying another. "Sometimes." Jacob pulled out his tobacco. Hands needed something to do besides remember. "Are you running from something or to something?" "Both." "Fair enough." Thunder shook the house. The boy flinched, then pulled something from his shoe. Paper folded small and damp. He smoothed it on the table with reverent care. It was a drawing. Charcoal on what might have been ledger paper. 200 riders, maybe more, racing across an impossible sky. At the front, a woman with wings instead of arms. At the back, a small figure watched them leave. "My pa drew this," the boy said. "Before he died. They said they'd come for me one day. Said I just had to find the right place to wait." "Is this the right place?" "Don't know." Looked like it might be. The boy traced the riders with one finger. "You believe in promises?" Jacob thought of his own promises. To love, to protect, to never leave. All broken now. All buried with Beth and their daughter in the cemetery on the hill. No, he said. Not anymore. The boy nodded like he'd expected that answer. Me neither, but Pa did. Said promises live longer than people if you make them right. Your Pa sounds like he was a good man. He was everything. The boy's voice cracked. They killed him for it. Jacob didn't ask who they were. In his experience, they were always the same. Men who took what they wanted. Men who broke what they couldn't own. Men who made orphans and widows and hollow-eyed children who drew salvation they'd never see. You can sleep by the fire, Jacob said. Storm will pass by morning, then what? Send the boy back out into a world that had already tried to kill him. Call the sheriff, who'd asked questions neither of them wanted answered. I can work, the boy said quickly. No horses, cattle, can mend, can stay quiet. Didn't ask for payment. Everyone asks eventually. Christ.